What's up, human beings? My name is Damon Samuels, and this is where the discussion begins. In the next 3 to 5 minutes, what I'll be doing, I'll be starting the discussion around violence. We can say violence part two. And at the end of the video, that's when the real discussion begins because with your comments. So, the last time I had spoken about violence, and I had spoken about the most extreme result of violence, which is death, and I had spoken about the most popular form of death nowadays, which is by the gun. So we had spoken about gun violence and also black and black violence, which is what they highlight in the media, as if it's not just another intra-racial form of violence, which is quite common, believe it or not. So whatever the reasons for what they're doing, we're not gonna discuss that here. We can leave that for another time. But I had said that we need to focus on the system, which is one way we could quell this violence in our community. And I could see where people could misunderstand that and mistake it for just another person speaking about system and not trying to take responsibility for what we're doing as black people in our community. And that's absolutely not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm saying if we take all the shooters, all the gang members, everyone with a gun, and we put them in jail, what's going to happen is that within 3 to 5 years or so, we're going to have the same thing recurring. There's a reason for that. We've seen that over the history. We've seen that over time where they put people in jail and then younger people come up and they still do the exact same thing. Now, there's a reason for that. The reason is that there's a culture that has developed where people think that it's okay to just resolve a situation using a gun. And that's what I'm talking about when I say the system, because that culture has started because of another reason. What I had mentioned is that there are socioeconomical conditions that causes a certain behavior, right? And when I say causes a certain behavior, I mean, okay, so black people are disproportionately poorer than every other race. A spade is a spade. It is what it is. What that means is that that causes dysfunction in a family, which in turn causes things that human beings need to develop their personhood to be lacking. Now, if that's lacking, and one of those things is education, then what's going to happen? It's going to be where these said black people are going to be either victims or perpetrators of what's easy. And what's easy is to fall into this trap of this violent culture. And that's what I'm referring to as the system. There's a system that's causing young people to think that, when they have a problem, they could just go and resolve it by using violence. So when I say the system, that's exactly what I'm talking about, and that's what we need to attack. And people keep coming around and they keep saying that they want to help and they want to do this and they want to do that. And are we really helping? Are we really helping? Right? Because take, for example, policing, right? Someone had mentioned carding and that we should go back to carding and cooperate with the police. I'm not saying we shouldn't cooperate with the police. That's necessary, because I do think that each criminal who's responsible for violent actions is supposed to be caught and they're supposed to be off the streets, because we do not want that kind of mentality to just be lurking around, right? But what I mean when I say things like, are we really helping, is that when you card, for example, right? What happens is that you're presuming that the person that you're carding is a criminal or will know a criminal in the future or will be around criminal activities in the future. What that is, that's reactive policing, right? What we need is proactive policing. We need things to be put in place where these issues that we're facing are prevented, right? And if we don't have that, then we're going to keep having the same things recurring, and then we're going to, who knows, we might be mourning for our family, or someone might be mourning for us in the future, because these things are not going to stop, right? And the history has shown that the way we're doing things is not the right way to do it. So when I say attack the system, I mean attack that thing that's causing this culture, because we can see where right now we're in a vicious cycle. The vicious cycle is that we know that art imitates music, art imitates life, right? And life imitates art, where these young people are listening to murderous music, and the murderous music is being built because of the murderous society that we live in. And so they listen to more murderous music, they do more murderous things, and then murderous things listen to murderous things happen because people are seeing what's going on in the society. So we need to stop this vicious cycle, and one way to stop this vicious cycle is by attacking the system that's causing the culture of death, right? So like it if you do, share if you agree with what I'm saying, or if you disagree, it's something that sparks a discussion. And comment, because the real discussion begins with your comments. Because remember, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am.